So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this while we...
If you remember when I met with Obama, his wife was very nasty to me the other day. Oh, that was not nice. She was very nasty. She said nasty things. I was always very respectful of her, but she got up there, which shows you how nervous they are about what's happening. But she was nasty 2 days ago. She got up and said some bad things she shouldn't have said. They were wrong.
Trump's worst nightmare: getting owned by Michelle Obama. If there's one thing Trump hates more than losing, it's being publicly humiliated, especially by someone way more popular than him. So when Michelle Obama dropped some truth bombs about his marriage, let's just say he did not take it well. The man who spent years obsessed with her husband was now red-faced, furiously typing in all caps, probably pacing around Mar-a-Lago in his comically long tie, trying to come up with a comeback that wouldn't immediately backfire. Was it the truth that stung? Or was it the fact that Michelle, as always, said it with grace, intelligence, and zero effort, while he flailed around, desperate for an insult that didn't make him look even worse?
Worse. It now seems very clear that this isn't an isolated incident. It's one of countless examples of how he has treated women his whole life. And I have to tell you that I listen to all of this, and I feel it so personally. And I'm sure that many of you do too, particularly the women.
The contrast couldn't be more obvious. Michelle Obama radiates effortless confidence, graceful, poised, and with a mind sharper than a diamond-cutting laser. When she speaks, people listen, not because she demands attention, but because her words matter. And then there's Trump, a man who bulldozes into conversations with the subtlety of a foghorn at a yoga retreat, desperate to be the loudest voice in the room, even when he has nothing meaningful to say.
Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
Let's be real, Trump has been hung up on the Obamas for years. Like an ex who still brings up their breakup at every family dinner. Barack, effortlessly cool, smooth, and respected worldwide. Michelle, even worse for Trump's fragile ego, smart, confident, and completely unbothered by his nonsense. She doesn't just match his energy, she outclasses him in every way. And that drives him insane. Trump lives for attention, but Michelle, she can shut him down without saying a word, a speech, a look, or, worst of all, her signature move, acting like he doesn't even exist. Nothing stings more than being ignored, especially when you're desperate to be noticed.
Michelle Obama said yesterday that there's no hope. But I assume she was talking about the past, not the future, because I'm telling you, we have tremendous hope, and we have tremendous promise and tremendous potential. We are going to be so successful as a country again.
Trump versus Michelle. A one-sided obsession. And yet, he just can't quit. Every time Michelle Obama so much as mentions leadership, integrity, or values, Trump acts like it's a direct attack. Maybe because, deep down, he knows she's everything he isn't. She built her reputation on grace, intelligence, and real leadership. He built his on, well, let's just say, exaggeration, lawsuits, and bad spray tans.
Is not normal. This is not politics as usual. This is disgraceful. It is intolerable.
The media was against him. I think they are afraid of his strength. and he was leading this country with peace through strength.
Yeah.
So as soon he announced that he's running for the president, everything really changed. And I saw it and I said, you know, this will not be very pleasant, but I knew what he's into it.
Michelle speaks. Trump melts down every single time. It's so predictable. Every time Michelle Obama says anything about leadership, Trump loses it. His response? A chaotic mix of rage-fueled word salad and barely hidden insecurity, like shouting, "I'm a successful businessman." Over and over will somehow make it true. And let's be honest, his usual tactic of attacking powerful women by calling them nasty or overrated completely falls apart when it comes to Michelle. Why? Because unlike him, she's actually respected.
Notice that you went back to the White House recently. You haven't been back.
No.
Since
Wasn't invited.
the
Ooh, shade. You know, that's a tradition. You do your official portraits. The next president is supposed to invite you back to hang them. We were never invited back, so these pictures.
Here's the thing. Trump's obsession with the Obamas isn't just about politics. It's personal. He's spent years trying to wipe out their legacy, gutting policies, reversing progress, even scrapping healthy school lunch programs like he had a personal vendetta against broccoli. But no matter how many tantrums he throws, he can't erase Michelle Obama. She doesn't need to fire back because she's already won. She's everything Trump isn't: admired, respected, and beloved by people across the political spectrum. And that burns him. Why does he keep coming back for more? Maybe because Michelle exposes hypocrisy without resorting to insults or conspiracies. Maybe because, deep down, Trump knows that no amount of all-caps meltdowns on Truth Social will ever shake her. And if that wasn't humiliating enough, his own wife copied Michelle's speech, word for word. Seriously, Melania took the stage, delivered her big moment, and boom, she was literally reading Michelle Obama's 2008 speech. Not similar, not inspired by, straight-up plagiarism, like a student discovering copy-paste the night before a deadline. And yet, they call other people unoriginal.
Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're gonna do.
My parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That you treat people with dignity and respect, even if you don't know them, and even if you don't agree with them.
That you treat people with respect.
The internet had an absolute field day. Side-by-side videos spread like wildfire. News outlets roasted the moment. And late-night comedians barely had to lift a finger. The joke wrote itself. And how did Team Trump handle it? Classic damage control. Right finger blame the speechwriters. Right finger cry fake news. Right finger maybe even find a way to pin it on Hillary Clinton. Meanwhile, Melania, silent, just waiting for the storm to pass, hoping everyone would forget that her original speech had already been delivered by a woman Trump despises. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just the speech. People started noticing something else. Melania wasn't just borrowing Michelle's words, she was borrowing her entire aesthetic. The outfits, the mannerisms, the event appearances, even her initiatives. And the best part? Melania's so-called anti-bullying campaign, a weak echo of Michelle's Let's Move initiative, felt more like a cruel joke. Given who she was married to. Irony. Meet Melania.
Any advice for Mrs. Trump? You know, we talked about the kids, but, you know, my offer to Melania was, you know, you really don't know what you don't know until you're here. So the door is open, as I've told her, and as Laura Bush told me, you know, and as other first ladies told me. So I'm not new in this going high thing. I mean, I'm modeling what was done for me by the Bush.
And let's talk about the fashion moments. Remember Michelle's iconic black sleeveless dress at her first White House Christmas event? Guess what? A strikingly similar silhouette magically surfaced on Melania years later. The chic, modern outfits Michelle pulled off with ease? Somehow, Melania's wardrobe always seemed to have a near-identical version waiting in the wings. Coincidence? Maybe once. But when it keeps happening, people start asking questions. And Trump? Completely oblivious. To him, originality is overrated, and if anyone dares point out the blatant copying, he's got two go-to moves. Loudspeaker, fake news. Loudspeaker, Melania's version was better. The real irony? The very family that spent years trying to erase the Obamas couldn't stop borrowing from them. But here's the thing, Michelle didn't care. She never entertained the drama. While Melania was out here recycling ideas, Michelle was out there setting the standard, a role model without even trying. And that is the ultimate difference. Michelle's influence wasn't just about what she wore or what she said. It was about who she was.
And one of the most fashion-forward first ladies in recent history, leaving the White House, handing off the baton to Melania Trump. So what fashion choices will the new First Lady champion, looking lovely there in a blue Ralph Lauren coat? What have we seen so far, and what can we expect may come?
And then came the real talk, the kind that doesn't need all caps, shouting, or a Twitter meltdown to land. Michelle Obama doesn't have to throw punches. Her words are sharp enough to cut through the noise. She talks about integrity, family values, and real leadership in a way that forces you to face the truth about who's missing all of that. She doesn't say, Trump's a mess. No, it's more like, here's what a stable, loving, respectful partnership looks like. And suddenly, people start glancing over at Melania, wondering, you good? Because let's face it, Trump's marriage has always been like one long, awkward reality
because let's
show.
be honest,
The
Trump's
uncomfortable
marriage
silences,
has always been
the
one of the
cold
world's
stares,
most
the infamous
uncomfortable
hand
reality
swaps where
shows.
Melania treats Trump's
The
attempts at
awkward
affection like
interactions,
she's
the
flicking
cold
away a
stares,
fly.
the infamous
And it's
hand
not a
swats
one-time
where
thing.
Melania treats
It's a
Trump's
pattern,
attempts at
an
affection
ongoing,
like she's swatting
public,
away a mosquito.
Stay away from me.
And it's not just
vibe that
once
makes
or
it crystal
twice,
clear
it's a
this isn't
pattern,
some fairy
an
tale
ongoing
romance.
public display of
So,
get away from
when
me
Michelle
that makes it
talks
clear.
about what a real
This
partnership
isn't
looks
exactly
like,
a fairy
it
tale
hits
romance.
different.
So
She
when
and
Michelle
Barack
talks
built
about
their
what a real
relationship on
partnership
respect,
looks like, it
humor,
lands.
and
She
support.
and Barack
A
built their
natural flow
relationship
that
on
makes
mutual
Trump's
respect,
transactional marriage
humor, and
seem
support.
even more forced in
A
comparison.
dynamic so natural.
You know, she was over her head, and frankly, she should have made the speech live, which she didn't do. She taped it, and it was not only taped, it was taped a long time ago because she had the wrong deaths. She didn't even mention the vice presidential candidate in the speech, and you know, she gets these fawning reviews. If you gave a real review, it wouldn't be so fawning. I thought it was a very divisive speech, extremely divisive. No, I thought her speech was very divisive. And frankly, I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for Barack Obama. See, we're standing in the White House. I wouldn't be in the White House except for Barack Obama.
While Michelle shares heartfelt stories about late-night talks, shared dreams, and the ups and downs of marriage, Trump's version of affection seems to be constantly bragging about how much Melania respects him in interviews. All while she stares off into space like she's in a different universe. And then there's the glaring difference in how they lift up their spouses. Michelle speaks of Barack with genuine admiration, his integrity, his leadership, the way he's always had her back. Trump, though, has turned Melania into little more than a decorative piece at his rallies, occasionally tossing out a line about how much the crowd loves her before circling back to another monologue about himself. Here's the kicker. Michelle doesn't need to say Trump's name. She doesn't have to point out the icy body language, the obvious lack of chemistry, or how Melania physically recoils from his touch. She simply talks about what love, respect, and partnership really look like. The contrast is crystal clear. And, as expected, Trump did exactly what we all knew he would. He lost it. As soon as Michelle's words hit the airwaves, Trump was already half a post deep into a tantrum on Truth Social. His fingers flying across the keyboard, probably sweating through his monogrammed cuffs as he raged into the void.
I am sick of all the chaos and the nastiness of our politics. It's exhausting. And frankly, it's depressing. So I understand wanting to shut it all out.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. I still have to stick to
The first post? Oh, it was a classic. All caps, excessive exclamation points, and just the right amount of misspellings that make you wonder if he was typing with his eyes closed. It probably went something like this: Michelle Obama, the most nasty first lady in history, even worse than crooked Hillary, is attacking me because she's jealous everyone loves Melania. Sad. Jealousy. Of course. That's his go-to move. In Trump's world, everyone who criticizes him secretly wants to be him. The idea that Michelle Obama, a woman with actual influence, global respect, and a happy marriage, would ever want to switch places with a guy who can't even keep a casino afloat. Pure comedy gold. Then came the damage control. His team scrambling to distract us with their usual tricks. Maybe Obama's birth certificate would make an appearance? Or a sudden, urgent concern about Michelle's college thesis? Or perhaps another rant about windmills? Anything to shift the focus away from the fact that once again, Michelle Obama spoke, and the world listened. But here's the kicker. The more Trump rages, the worse it gets. Michelle didn't even insult him directly. She didn't need to. She simply talked about what a real, loving partnership looks like. No insults, no personal attacks, just cold, hard facts that hit way too close to home. And what does Trump do? He melts down in full-on unhinged hysteria, proving her point in real time.
With your support on November 5th, you know what's nasty to me? Michelle Obama. Ooh. I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, she opened up a little bit of a box. She opened up a little bit of something. Oh, she was nasty. Ooh. Shouldn't be that way. That was a big mistake that she made.
And just like that, the internet did what it does best. Took Trump's meltdown and turned it into pure entertainment. Within minutes, social media was flooded with side-by-side comparisons of Michelle and Melania's speeches. Clip after clip, post after post. It was like watching a bad student try to pass off a Wikipedia article as their own work. Memes started flooding in at record speed. One particularly brutal meme featured Michelle in her elegant blue dress, labeled the blueprint, with Melania next to her in an eerily similar outfit, labeled the Xerox. Another one was a throwback to Melania's infamous 2016 speech, subtitled, "As a young girl growing up on the south side of Chicago." Because, at this point, why not just go all in? Then came the deep dive theories. Twitter was ablaze with people breaking down why Melania always looks one awkward handshake away from a full-on escape plan. Every clip of her dodging Trump's attempts at affection resurfaced. The hand swats, the stiff body language, the icy stares. One user posted a slow-motion breakdown of Melania's expression during a past inauguration. Captioned, "When you realize you should have read the prenup more carefully."
New tonight, Melania Trump firing back, responding to Michelle Obama, who says she offered Melania Trump an open phone line, an offer Melania has refused. It's all coming out as Michelle Obama speaks out about her husband, their relationship, being First Lady, and President Trump.
Comedians wasted no time piling on. Late-night hosts had a field day, turning Trump's all-caps meltdown into comedy gold. Even his supporters struggled to defend the whole thing. Some tried, of course. They threw out the usual fake news and out-of-context excuses. But it's tough to spin a speech that was literally copied word for word. At some point, even the staunchest defenders had to admit, yeah, that's kind of bad. And that's the beauty of it. Michelle Obama doesn't even have to try. That's what makes it so infuriating for Trump. She speaks with grace, intelligence, and authenticity, and people listen. She doesn't need all-caps rants or a fleet of yes-men scrambling to shield her. She just exists, effortlessly respected. Meanwhile, Trump, despite his billions, his presidency, and his never-ending thirst for attention, can't seem to command the same level of admiration. The contrast couldn't be starker. On one side, a woman who built a legacy on hard work, integrity, and a genuine connection with people. On the other, a man who built his legacy on branding, bluster, and a reality show where he got to fire people. Michelle walks into a room, and people lean in to hear what she has to say. Trump walks into a room, and people brace themselves for whatever unhinged rant is coming next.
Election out to prove a point? Well, let me tell you who isn't tuning out. Many of the folks who served closest to Trump and saw the danger firsthand. His former vice president, almost half of his former cabinet members, the growing list of four-star generals and Republican governors and senators and former House members, all of whom are not publicly supporting his candidacy the second time around. You all hear what I said?
But it's more than just a personality clash. Trump and his base have always struggled with powerful, intelligent women. The more confident and outspoken they are, the more they're seen as a threat. Whether it's Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, or Michelle herself, the pattern is always the same: mock, belittle, and undermine at every possible turn. It's why Melania's copy-paste scandal barely caused a ripple, while Michelle's bare arms sparked a full-blown moral panic. Yet, Michelle doesn't need to stoop to Trump's level. She doesn't engage in Twitter wars, fire back with petty insults, or constantly remind people how smart she is. Her actions speak volumes all on their own. And that's what truly eats away at Trump, because no amount of money, power, or self-aggrandizing boasts can buy what Michelle Obama commands naturally: respect. At this point, the script is predictable. Trump's not one to let go of a grudge, especially when it involves someone much more respected than he is. So what's next? Another rambling rally speech where he calls Michelle nasty and accuses her of being part of some grand conspiracy? A 3 a.m. Truth Social post filled with typos and baseless accusations? Or maybe, just maybe, he'll drag out the old Barack birth certificate distraction once again, his go-to move when the pressure gets too real.
We have a candidate for president who over the course of his lifetime, in the course of this campaign, has said things about women that are so shocking that I simply will not repeat anything here today. It has shaken me to my core in a way that I couldn't have predicted. This was a powerful individual speaking freely and openly about sexually predatory behavior and actually bragging about kissing and groping women, using language so obscene that many of us were worried about our children hearing it when we turn on the TV.
The real question is whether Melania will even address the feud. Historically, her approach has been to dodge direct confrontation, opting instead for side-eye glances, carefully crafted public statements, and the occasional Christmas decor disaster to keep us all guessing. If she does respond, expect something vague and robotic, a tweet about focusing on positivity, or, better yet, an inspirational message that avoids directly acknowledging the drama. But most likely, she'll do what she's done time and time again: stay silent. Let Trump spiral, and continue looking like she's mentally drafting her escape plan while the world watches. Meanwhile, Michelle Obama remains untouchable. She doesn't need to react to keep her influence intact. Her grace, her poise, her ability to rise above the noise, these things speak louder than any of Trump's desperate attempts to stay relevant. And that's the real kicker: it drives him insane. Trump thrives on chaos, on feuds, on the drama of pulling others into his never-ending mess of nonsense. But Michelle, she doesn't need to play his game. She lets the truth speak for itself. And the silence that follows? It's powerful, it's undeniable, and it's exactly what rattles him the most.